Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Spiritual Love Circle. I am your circle facilitator. I'm Jovhannah, the Spiritual Love Healer. Tonight's topic is about love your life, and it's all about loving who you are and where you are right now. And I'm going to share why that's important, along with some tips to help you, and a little bit of my story, how I came to really embrace this knowledge for myself. So if this is your first time in the circle, again, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a sacred space. Forgive me, today has been a busy day, so I'm not as centered and grounded or prepared as I need to be. But I do want to, if I can find it, get my life together so that I can be prepared, a little better prepared. So give me a second. I'm excited because I had a beautiful, beautiful call earlier doing some intuitive exercises. And then I got this beauty in the mail today that I've had on pre-order for quite some time. This is the African Goddess Rising Oracle deck created by one of my teachers, Abiola Abrams. She also has the book. There is a book, and I think the book is on my nightstand because it's not in here. But she also is the author of a book, African Goddess Initiation. And so I am super excited. I have not opened this deck yet because I knew that I needed to do this, and I probably would have gotten sidetracked. And anyway, so this is my new deck. Say hi, new deck. If you don't know, I am a spiritual healer. I am a tarot and oracle card reader and a coach, a spiritual life coach. And so tarot and oracle cards are one of the many tools in my toolbox that I use to help women live abundantly ever after. And that's really about picking up the pieces and moving on after heartache, after loss, after experiencing trauma, so that you can live the life that you truly desire and deserve from a place of love and healing. So that is a little bit about me. I'm a mom. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. I have two girls, Kayla and Savvy. Kayla is 18. No, yes, she'll be 19 this year. Savvy is 6. And I'm just here helping women to heal their hearts, heal their minds, expand their vision, activate their heart, and really tap into your abundance codes that you can manifest and magnetize the life that you desire. And so why tonight we're talking about loving where you are in the now is because, let me turn this off because it's getting a little chilly and I know it's a little loud. I still have my fan going because I get hot with this light and everything on. So anyways, loving where you are now is super important because when we don't love where we are and who we are, it creates resistance. And out of that resistance, it can prevent you from really stepping into and manifesting or becoming the woman that you deserve and having the life experiences that you want. So what happens is that we can get stuck in looking at what we don't have, what we should have did, what we could have did, what we would have had if we had did this or that and the third, and if this person hadn't have hurt us, and if that person had have helped us. And so we sit there and we look at where we are and we're just like, I'm not this. I'm not successful. I'm not happy. I'm not loved. I'm not in a relationship. I'm not rich. I'm not what all the things that you feel that you could have or should have been. And I did this. Based on the experiences that I've had. I am a survivor of domestic violence. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I've dealt with many, many layers of trauma in addition to that, along with having to deal with major depressive disorder and anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. So I know what it is like to fixate and not feel that to feel that you've been hurt, that you've been wrong, and now you're just stuck in this spot because of what you've experienced in your life. And so what happens, we have these bad experiences and we allow them to become our identity. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because, you know, however we feel and what we experience is real and valid. But what happens, and I was talking yesterday on Instagram Live, if you're not following me, make sure you're following me there at the Spiritual Love Healer. It's one of my favorite spaces to hang out at in the realm of social. But I was talking about labels. And so what happens, like I was saying, is that you start to identify with who you were in certain situations. So for example, I'll share my story of abuse, right? So I would identify as a victim. I would identify as, I was a victim. This person hurt me. I'm damaged. Nobody loves me. I didn't really love myself. So these were some of the labels and the things that I was experiencing in my life. And I had a lot of anger, which was justified, right? I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of fear because of what I experienced. And so when I was out of that experience and in what I like to call transition, because I was in that place where it was like I was trying to figure out life and going through the healing process, basically. And so because I kept saying, I'm a victim, I'm depressed, I'm hurt, nobody's helping me, nobody loves me, nobody this, I am alone, la 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 la, I could not see the magic in where I was at that moment, right? And of course, being in a traumatic situation, it's hard to just flip on that switch, especially when you don't know, you don't have the awareness of how to do that. And so now that I've went through that process, I can look back and say, wow, like if I had have changed, you know, my perspective, and eventually I did, and I was like, you know what, but at least I'm alive. And so that's when I started to start to make changes in my life. I no longer was identifying myself as a victim. I was no longer identifying myself as a victim. I started to see that even though my entire life crumbled, everything fell apart. And I did have some extenuating circumstances that made things a lot harder for me because I was a mother. Instead of clinging to those things that happened to me in the past, what I had at the moment was like, okay, well, at least I'm alive. And so because I was alive, that was like the only thing, like, they're like, okay, you need to be grateful for something. Okay, well, hey, I'm breathing. That's got to count for something, right? And that literally used to be the only thing on like my gratitude list. And some days I was like, I don't even know if this is a good thing or not, but okay, here I am, I'm breathing, I'm alive. So, and then I started to realize, like, some people don't wake up the next day. Some women don't get to call themselves a survivor because they don't make it out of their abusive situation. Some women, you know, some people have it worse. So that started me looking at things differently. Like, hey, this being alive thing is actually pretty big. It's pretty important. And I started to realize that because today I woke up, that meant something significant, because the divine, God, goddess, spirit, however you choose to see it, ordained me to be here another day. So I started thinking, okay, well, what does this mean? Like, okay, you keep waking me up to this shit show called life. Like, why? What is it? What does this mean? And so because I had experienced depression, the worst, the fixating on negative things was not healthy at all in any way. So that's what taught me to start to see the silver lining in the cloud. And I know a lot of times there's this, the concept of toxic positivity. And to me, as someone who had experienced major depressive disorder, I don't mean like sad one day. I mean, this was like the whole clinical situation where, you know, it was just a perpetual sadness and darkness. Clinging to the positive is what allowed me to carry myself out of that. And so when I hear that, I feel like we need to put a little more conversation around it, and like, what context are you saying that positivity is toxic? Because for me, for someone who is absolutely like experiencing depression, you need whatever positivity that you can muster, because it just takes that one thought that leads you to feel like you don't want to be here anymore. And so again, like, I learned to see the silver lining in the cloud. And so I was like, okay, I woke up today. It's great. I have clothes to wear. That's excellent. Instead of saying like, okay, like, I got clothes to wear, but this isn't whatever fancy label, or yeah, I woke up, but I'm not living in Milan. I didn't wake up in Seychelles. Instead of putting those conditions and limitations on it, it just was what it was. I woke up today. Thank God. I have clothes to wear. Thank God. I have food. Thank God. So I started appreciating the little things. And the more that I did that, the more that I trained my mind to see the blessings in the small places, the little light that comes through the crack, the more that it magnified and expanded. And then eventually I started saying, like, if I'm here, I'm alive, right? So today, what can I do today that's going to help me experience something different tomorrow? And so out of this whole, like, starting to recognize, what do I have to be grateful for today, got me to thinking, like, well, how can I like switch this up and amplify it for tomorrow? And so in doing that, that's where my whole positive forward movement was my mantra. That's where that came from. And that was actually the name of my business initially. And then I dissolved it because I wanted to change the name and not have to go through a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, so positive forward movement became my mantra because it was all about focusing on positive things that would move me forward. And so that is what loving your life is all about. It's about positive forward movement. It's about accepting where you are and who you are. Because when you're able to do that, when you're able to accept yourself, when you're able to accept where you are in life, it releases the resistance. If you know that in the end you want to, I don't know, you want to be like a supermodel, but maybe you're not a supermodel yet. Instead of saying, waking up every day angry and upset and frustrated that you haven't made it to be a supermodel, you start thinking like, okay, if I want to be a supermodel, what should I be doing to get me there? And so it's like, okay, maybe I need to start going on photo shoots. I have a portfolio. Maybe I need to start working out more to tone my body or whatever it is. Maybe I need to start taking better care of my skin. Whatever it is, maybe I need to go to modeling agencies. I need to email people, like whatever those steps are to becoming a supermodel. That's what you need to start focusing on instead of the lack of that thing. And a lot of times while we are living in the present moment, we forget that there was a time when we wanted what we have now. And so for me, I can look back and absolutely see when there was a time that I dreamed of being where I am today. And the only reason that it happened is because I allowed myself to accept where I was and accept who I was while deciding and taking steps to become who I truly desired to be. So when we look at where we are now, like when you think about your life where you are now, on a scale of 1 to 10, and you can either share it in the chat or just keep it to yourself, but where do you fall on that spectrum? 1 being not so good, 10 being I'm feeling good. Like, where do you fall at on that spectrum? And then take some time to reflect on why is that? And I'm going to give you just a moment to kind of journal, write down your notes, and just see how do I feel about my life as it is right now today? And is, how do you feel about yourself as you are right now today? If there are some things that don't feel so good to you, make a list, maybe 3 to 5 things that you could do to change that. So maybe if you're not feeling so good about yourself, like I had been having issues with my skin since giving birth to Savvy. She's 6 now. But whenever, like when I was pregnant with her, I got really bad acne. I mean, it was bad, and there was scarring. Like it was so horrible. My skin has since cleared. Even though it's not perfect, I'm super grateful that it's not where it used to be. And so one of the things that I do now is I make sure that I'm really like taking care of my skin to continue improving it so that it gets better with time. So just think about the things that maybe, what can you do, right? Because here's the thing, and what this is all about is really about reclaiming your power. We can look back at the past, all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and then look to the future with all of the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the wishing, but not do anything right now to make changes or make adjustments so that we can take advantage of what we have. We cannot go back to the past and fix it, and we can't go to the future and fix it. And I'm kind of laughing, so I'm like, well, but seriously, like the power is in the now, and we can manifest or create the future by focusing on the now. So if you know that you want to lose weight, start exercising, start walking, start changing your diet. If you know that you're not happy in your relationship, maybe you start going to a relationship counselor, marriage counselor. You start talking with your mate. You start trying to figure out how you can become a better communicator and things like that. Instead of sitting in the muck, instead of tolerating things and settling for things that you know don't feel good, and then you're just like in your head, like, I hate this, like this is terrible, like this isn't what I want. And then at night you can't sleep because you're laying in the bed thinking about all the things you coulda, shoulda, woulda. Take advantage of each day that you are given, because they truly are a gift. They truly are a present. And that's how I learned to approach life after, dealing with depression. Like that, I almost did not make it through. And so because I did, I see each day as something awesome. Even if it's a bad day, it's like, okay, well, at least I learned I don't like this and how to not get myself in these situations anymore. But it's so important to focus on the present moment, because that is truly where your power is. That is where all the magic lies. That is where you can affect the most change in your life and the lives of people around you. So again, if you are feeling like, ugh, I don't like it here. It's been a hard year, 2 years, 2.5, I don't even know how long, but it's been challenging for everyone. And so it's very important to be mindful of what you can do right now in the present moment to really create the you that you want to be and the life that you want to see. And that's what the Abundance Code Collective is all about, which is my upcoming membership program that's designed to help you pick up the pieces after dealing with loss, dealing with heartache, dealing with something that really shook up things in your life, so that you can start to live abundantly ever after. And abundantly ever after is not just about getting to the money, but money is super important. But when I talk about abundance and living abundantly ever after, I'm talking about you're able to experience an abundance of all that you desire, an abundance of love, an abundance of money, an abundance of success, an abundance of joy, an abundance of adventure, an abundance of travel, an abundance of whatever that means to you. So you get to decide what your ever after is. And then you get to do the work, you get to do the healing practices, you get to do the personal and spiritual development practices, you get to do the manifestation work, so that you are able to magnetize and manifest what it is that you want in your life. And the thing is that most of us think that life is just happening to us and we just have to, move around it. And that's not the case. Like, you can absolutely be in control and decide, like, I want less of this and more of that. I don't want any of that. Let's put a little bit of this in here. Like, you get to be the creator. You are the star of your own show. You get to write the script. You get to decide who you want to be and what you get to experience. And I know for me, a lot of times, especially if you grew up in maybe a traumatic household, unhealthy family dynamics, you might not have had the knowledge or the awareness that you have personal agency to choose. You get to choose what you want to experience. You don't have to continue to accept things as they are, but you have to learn how, well, first of all, you have to know what it is that you want. And that's something that I see a lot of my clients, like, they don't know, because we don't know what's possible for us, because we've always been told that we have to fit into this little box, that we can't aim too high. We can't, do the things that we dream and desire, because it's not realistic, because it's not how things are supposed to be. But you absolutely get to decide what that looks like for you. You can bust out of any box that somebody put you in. The ones that you put yourself in, the ones that, you confined yourself to based on society standards, all of those things, like, don't have to matter. I wholeheartedly believe that, like, you get to decide and you get to create what that is. And I think a lot of times we have so much unrealistic expectations and pressures that are put on through society, through media, through celebrity. And it's like we don't even see what's really real anymore. So it makes your normal life feel insignificant. And that's absolutely not the case. You are still in control of you. You have unlimited potential, and you have more power than you could even imagine. And so these are some of the things that I want you to start tapping into, which is why we are here, why we're talking about loving the now. It does not matter what mistakes you made yesterday. It doesn't matter what you did 3 years ago, 5, 10, 15, 20, however many years ago. What matters happens right now. And if you did have some stuff that maybe you did in the past where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, I'm so ashamed, blah, blah, blah. Like, we all have a past, right? Don't judge yourself by that. Just look at that experience and be like, okay, like, that probably was not the best for me, but it happened. And you know what? I'm going to take its power away by just acknowledging that that didn't work for me, and I learned something from it, and I decided to move in a different direction. You don't have to let your past hinder you from your future. The way to do that is by focusing on the now. When you start to feel yourself wandering to the past and like, oh, I can't show up here because I don't feel confident, because when I was 7, this thing happened. Like, no, like, right now, you get to decide, you get to choose that I'm going to show up no matter how it feels. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to trust in the power that I have right now, that I deserve to be here. I can be seen, I can use my voice, I can be in any room that I want to be in, because I get to choose. A lot of times too, we do have to pull in that element of self-love, like loving who we are, right? We do live in, like I was mentioning earlier, like a society that puts a lot of unrealistic expectations, especially upon women, how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to talk, how you're supposed to dress, how you're supposed to act, all of these different things. And you have to be in love with who you are, with who God created you to be, with what you have to see on a daily basis. You have to love every fluff and every fold, every wrinkle, every freckle, every mole, every strand of hair. Like, you gotta be able to accept yourself as you are. And yes, like, there are improvements that I want to make. I want to start working out more. I'd like to get my body in better shape, but I still love myself. I'm not like, you tub of lard, like, you didn't do any exercise today, like, how dare you? Like, no, it's just like, you know what? I have a tracker, and some days I can't get to my exercise, or some days, like, I'm tired and I allow myself to rest. I don't beat myself up for that. I just know that if I keep resting, I'm not going to get to the end goal that I have in mind for myself. So again, it's coming from a loving place. Like, yes, I know that working out is important. I know that being in my best health, because for me it's about being healthy, that's important, but I'm not going to beat myself up today because I'm not where I want to be in the near future. It's about honoring where I am now. And when I was able to do that, instead of like feeling ashamed about the weight gain or ashamed about how my body changed after giving birth, I fell into acceptance. Now, other people may still have stuff to say about my appearance, but I don't care because I know that I'm healthy. I know that I love myself, and I know that they probably struggling with their own weight issues, projecting them onto me. So it's all about how you process things in the now moment. And that's not to say it doesn't upset me when somebody says something that they don't have no business coming out of their mouth about someone else's body. But that is to say that I don't allow it to sink into my core and start to impact how I feel about myself. Okay. So I am going to wrap things up. I am super, super grateful that we had the opportunity to chat about loving yourself in the now. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Drop them in the comments. And I look forward to you joining me in the Abundance Code Collective. Doors will be opening soon. I'm hoping that everything will be ready to go by the end of October. We're going to kick off with the quarterly goal mapping and planning session to really help you shape and mold these last 3 months of the year. We'll also be doing a reading for the quarter. And then come January, we're going to do like an annual version of that. I'm going to do a yearly reading, which is going to be really amazing. I want to do it live, but it's probably going to take up, usually they take about an hour, maybe hour and a half, because of the way that I read. So we're going to do that. There will be like an overview of that done live on the call. In addition, as a member of the Abundance Code Collective, it is a membership. It's a quarterly membership. We'll be doing healing sessions together as a group, coaching calls. You'll have access to a private group where you can get support, ask questions. There will be workshops, journals. So much amazing information is being poured into this space because it is something that I truly feel is needed. Inside of the Abundance Code Collective, we also talk about love because, again, love and relationships are an important and key component of our lives. A lot of times, the relationships that we have impact us, whether it's positively or maybe negatively. So that's very important that we know how to cultivate a healthy relationship first with ourselves and then with the other people in our lives. We are also going to be talking about setting and achieving goals, mastering your mindset and your money. This is not about let's manifest, $1,000 in 5 days. This is really about changing how you're connecting to money, how you're using money, how you're feeling about money on a daily basis. We're also going to do heart activation so that you can level up your relationships. We focus on self-love and your personal growth, making that a priority, and expanding your vision. And so your vision they're the goals and the dreams that you have for yourself. And I really want you to start thinking outside of the box so that you are able to expand what you're capable of receiving and what you're capable of becoming, and do so from a place of love, of peace, and compassion so that you're able to create the life that you desire. And if you want, also attract the love that you deserve. So there's going to be a lot that you get as a member. Each month there will be a collective abundance reading. I'll do a masterclass or a workshop. The difference between the two, a masterclass is usually about an hour. My workshops go from like an hour and 30 minutes to maybe 2 hours. There it's time for us to do something. So usually on a workshop, we're doing some sort of activity together. There'll be a collective healing practice each month. So we'll either do healing circles like this, but they'll be a little more structured. a guided meditation, tapping, or other resources to help you integrate healing into your life. I mentioned the coaching call, the Abundance Code coaching call, so that you're not doing this alone. You have support. You can bring your questions, any concerns. You get personalized support. You can always go back and watch. I also like to bring my decks to coaching calls too. So sometimes if I feel guided and if I feel like it'll support you, then I'll pull a card for you. And then we have the Abundance Code Healing and Manifestation sessions, which are one of my favorite practices that evolved out of a personal money Reiki journey that I was doing. So each month you get to participate in these sessions, and it basically adds energetic support to help clear obstacles and to help you manifest what it is you are working on in life. So just boost your positive energy. And then we have the quarterly goal manifestation and alignment sessions that I mentioned earlier, where we meet live with me and we'll plan together. I'll help you map out your goals, and you can get support and guidance on how to achieve them. Talk about anything that you might feel is standing in your way. And I show you how to break it down and help you create a map to manifesting your goals. So I am super, super excited. Right now, there is a early bird special, founders pricing. Like I said, the doors are not officially open, but if you join now, you'll get the $44 a month rate for the quarter. So that's $132, and that will continue on until you cancel. The regular price is probably going to be $264, and there is an annual membership available as well. So if you're interested, if this sounds like something that you want to get in on, you can most definitely get in on it early. You'll get to sit in with me on the first goal manifestation and alignment session. And there'll be some other elements added that you'll have access to as well. So if you want to learn more about that, visit abundancecodecollective.com. If you have any questions, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I am sending you an abundance of beautiful, beautiful, bold love, and I look forward to us connecting again soon. Peace.
Great job on your video.